Ibu letwe khoro
Good morning, everyone. I hope that we are all doing well, and I hope that we are okay and we are ready to learn and we are ready to have fun and also learn, because I love to say learning is very much beneficial to us. Before we start, I would love to open in a word of prayer. So shall we close our eyes as I pray? Dear Heavenly Father, I'd like to thank you for this wonderful day. Thank you for being with us throughout the beautiful Sabbath, where we got an opportunity to rest and gather our strength as we start the first day of the week. Dear Father, please be with us as we're about to enter into your honors. Open our ears and our brains so that we may be able to capture all that is going to be taught to us, and let it not only be just information to be kept in our heads, but let us apply it in our day-to-day life. Let us apply it when we go to camps. Let us apply it wherever we may be, because as we are learning, we are also becoming teachers. Please be with us now and forevermore. In your wonderful name, we pray. Amen. Thank you very much. Today, we are going to have 3 honors that we are going to do. I'm going to list them in the order that we are going to do them in. Now, the first honor that we are going to do is backpacking. Then we are going to do social media honor, followed by camp safety. So we are going to have a lot of fun, because what we are going to learn is very much impactful, and it has a lot of information. So without wasting any time, I would love to welcome Mama Estella, Ma'am Estella, who is going to do for us a backpacking honor. Thank you very much, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my leader. Good morning, Pathfinders, and it is such a lovely morning. Thank you all for joining in as we do a backpacking honor. It's actually quite nice and quite fun. If you are an outdoor person like me, you enjoy this this honor. So we will start with why backpacking, before we get even to know what is backpacking, right? So Gamo, on your end, let's go, sir.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so there we go. It's backpacking honor.
Okay, just give me a few moments. Yeah.
Okay.
All good.
All right, next slide, please. Okay, so what is backpacking? And we also get to know backpacking versus hiking, because sometimes we will think, oh, it's backpacking and hiking are the same. There's just a slight difference between backpacking and hiking, but we'll get to know that just now. We have to know the difference between the two. So let's go to the next slide, please. All right, so there we go. What is backpacking? It is a form of low-cost independent travel, which is okay. Sorry about that. Okay, somebody's trying to call me. Okay, which often includes staying in inexpensive lodgings and carrying all necessary possessions in a backpack. So when you're doing backpacking, it's more like you are going on a trail camp. Like you camp and you hike, you camp and you hike, you camp and you hike. So that is more on backpacking, and the rest is there. We will send out the PDF. I'm sure the PDF will be available, and then you can also read on your own the other pointers. But the main focus on that is just like it's more of a camp on a trail. Okay, and the next one is what is hiking? What is hiking? So hiking is essentially the act of walking in the midst of nature on a well-laid trail or an unknown path. Hiking just requires you to walk briskly at an average speed in a bit to reduce weight, to get some fresh air, as well as experience solitude in a place away from the bustles of daily life. People hike through rural areas and along the routes for exercise, pleasure, or military training. It's a leisure outdoor activity that involves walking in natural surroundings, often in mountains, woodlands, or any other scenic terrain. So we know most of us, we do hiking. Like it is a requirement for us to do hiking. As pathfinders, we have that requirement in our curriculum. So most of us, we know we're just going on a trail, but sometimes we say we're going to do a 5K, a 10K, 15K, depending on the strength and depending on how our pathfinders can handle. So that is more on hiking. It's just most likely we as pathfinders, we do day hiking, but there are some people who also do something like 2-day or 3-day hiking, which is a little, that's where the difference comes from backpacking and hiking. Because we say hiking is more like you have all your camping equipment in one backpack and then you camp on a trail. And then this one, you're just going for a hike, and then sometimes you even go back to your lodge, or there is a lodging at some other area, and then you continue with your hiking. So that's the thin line that is there between hiking and backpacking. Next slide, please, sir. Okay, so why backpacking? Why backpacking? Number one, these were the spiritual retreats for Jesus. If you have your Bible, you can, or you can just take a screenshot or take your pen and your paper and you write these verses down. So these were the spiritual retreats of Jesus. Number two, appreciating God in nature. It creates a good spiritual bond, and also replicating the early churches. I like it, it's Hosea chapter 2, verse 14. It says, therefore, behold, our Allah here will bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably to her. Have you ever noticed, most of the times when you go outdoors, you connect well with nature, and it's more like your spiritual being is uplifted, and you see God more than you do when you are staying at your home, when you're at school, when you're at work, or wherever you are. So it creates that good spiritual bond when you go for backpacking. All right, and it also increases physical, mental, and spiritual resilience, and for adventure, fun, teamwork, and commitment, etc., etc. So for adventure and for fun, sometimes you just want to go out, you just want to go backpacking, you just want to camp outdoors, while you have your things in the backpack. It's actually fun, obviously, you're going to stay outdoors for quite some days, and it's teamwork as well. You may try to create some challenges with your friends, with your club, and then you see how you work together as a team while outdoors. Next slide, please. All right, so number one, what is the requirement number one on our owner? It says, discuss with your instructor the meaning of the motto, take nothing but pictures and leave nothing but footprints. If you have any idea before I say anything about this, I just want maybe I can take one person who can try and answer this as quick as possible. Come on, let's go, Pathfinders. Let's go. What do you think this sentence mean? Take nothing but pictures and leave nothing but footprints. Let's go. Do we have a hand up? Anyone would like to try? One hand up. All right, going once, going twice. Do we have anything, sir?
No. You are able to see if there's a hand up as well, ma'am.
I cannot see because there's nothing that is coming up. Okay, all right. So so this is what it means, ne? When saying take nothing but pictures and leave nothing but footprints. You can go to the next slide, please. So it only means do not disturb nature while you are out enjoying it, right? If you see a pretty rock, leave it for somebody to also enjoy it. If you take that rock, how is somebody going to enjoy as much as you have enjoyed? So take nothing but photos. If you see a nice rock, just take your phone out or just take your camera out and take a picture of that and leave it for someone also to come and and enjoy. And if you are eating snakes or anything on the trail, don't toss the papers on the trail, right? So that you leave the place clean. As much as you see it clean, please just leave it clean. And if you see any dirt on the trails, you can be a very good pathfinder. Just pick up the papers and you can throw it in the next trash can that you find. So this is actually a good summary of the more common 7 L's that we have. So it's leave no trace principle. And those are the 7 ones that we have. Is plan ahead and prepare so that you won't take anything and you won't leave anything behind. Just plan ahead and prepare for your backpacking trip, travel, and camp on durable surfaces, dispose of waste properly, leave what you find, minimize campfire impacts, respect wildlife, be considerate of other visitors as well. So that's what it means. And you can go to the next slide, please, and let's explain a little bit more on some of these. Disposal of waste. This is actually a really good one because we know it's only not litter that we should dispose of. When you are going on a backpacking trip, as you said, it's not a one-day thing. It's actually sometimes 3 or 4 days, or sometimes you can even go for a week or for a month, depending on how you have planned. So if you are going on a backpacking trip, you also need to go to the toilet, right? I know this is a little bit of a gross part, but we have to talk about it anyway. We have to talk about it. So you have to go to toilet. It's either number 1 or number 2. You have to do that. So how do you go to toilet on a backpacking trip? Remember, you don't have toilets. Like it's out there in the wilderness, out there on a trail. You don't have toilets there. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go back to the chalet, I'm gonna go back to the hotel, or I'm gonna go back to where. No, you have your house on your back, right? You are carrying your house, so you don't have a toilet. So how do you go there? How do you go to toilet? Anyone who can notice what is there? What is there? What can you see on these pictures? What is on these pictures? Anyone who wants to say what they can see on the picture?
I see tissue.
See tissue roll. Okay, that's a good one.
Groundwater wind.
Groundwater wind. That's a very important. That's a very good observation. Thank you so much.
And I also see a shovel.
And you also see a shovel. Wow, that's a very nice observation as well. And there is a hand sanitizer too, right?
I see deter.
Okay, that's a hand sanitizer. All right, thank you for that. Okay, so we go to that picture there. There is a small spread, and there's hand sanitizer, and there's tissue. And below, there is a Ziploc bag, and there is a digging stick, and the digging stick is in a hole. So when you are going for number 2, especially, you just don't go there, you do your number 2, and then you leave it. That's not correct disposal of waste. You have to dig a hole. And when you dig a hole, you have, yeah, it's fine, Tamo, you can go to that slide that you're in. It has to be somewhere where it's far from the campsite and far from the water, because remember, this is the water that you're sometimes using to drink and to cook. So it has to be at least 70 steps away from the water, and also 70 steps away from the camp, because we don't want a situation whereby we now have a bad smell in the camp, right? And we also don't want a situation whereby when we're going to draw water from our water spot and we feel like, no, man, this is not it. So your hole needs to be at least 70 steps away from the camp, and also 70 steps away from the what? Away from the water. Next slide, please. And this is the depth of the hole for number 2. Ne? This is the depth of the hole for number 2. It's 6 to 8 inches like deep, and then the width has to be like 4 inches. The width has to be like 4 inches. So that's how you do your number 2 when you go on a backpack show. Next slide, please. All right, and then know the essentials of proper clothing like shoes and rain gear to use in backpacking. That's our requirement number 2. So when you're going on a trip, you have to make sure that you have proper clothing. Not it's cold and then we see you wearing shorts and we see you wearing anything that is not appropriate. No. You have to know how to properly dress. You see these ladies, they're beautiful ladies, ne? Both of them, they're very beautiful. The other one is she's wearing proper clothing for a backpack. Like you can see, she's got a backpack, she's wearing properly, she's got her climbing sticks as well, she's wearing proper shoes, proper sunglasses on. And the other one on the next picture where I marked X, you can actually see which if she looks like she's going to a fashion show, right? She's wearing so smart, but she's not dressed for the occasion, right? We know we like our bling and everything, but that's not for the occasion. That's not for the occasion. We have to dress for the occasion. Okay. All right. Next slide, please. We're still on our proper clothing. So these are your hiking shoes. I know some of us, we may say we don't have the money to buy hiking shoes, but this is proper proper shoes when you are going for backpacking. Make sure you have proper shoes. So there is trail runners for those who want to run a little bit when they are doing the backpacking. We can have those. And then there's hiking shoes and hiking boots. And also underneath there are pros and cons on these hiking shoes. So the trail runners, they are light and flexible. Somebody can say, you know what, I'll prefer them, but they are less durable and less protection. You can easily get poked when you are wearing the trail runners. And then the hiking shoe, it's lighter than boots and more ventilation and waterproof, but it also have less protection. But even though it has less protection, I prefer the hiking shoe because it's light. If you like to ride in them, you can actually do that as well. And they are much easier. I prefer the hiking shoe. And the hiking boots, it's more when you're going on a very mountainous place, when you're doing your backpacking trip on a mountainous place, that when you can put the hiking boots. But these ones are heavier and they have poor ventilation. So the chances for you to sweat a lot in those boots is quite high. And when you sweat, you're wearing socks, you sweat, you can actually get stinky fit, right? you have stinky feet, and sometimes because you have sweat in your shoes, you can have blisters as well if you don't change your socks regularly. So when you have those, make sure you have a lot of socks, and so that when you sweat, you change them. Okay. Next slide, please. It's still just like what we're explaining on the hiking boots, but this one we also have a barefoot hiking shoe, which is quite nice, but it's not suitable for cold conditions. When you are going, when you know that where you're going for backpacking is actually cold, that is not advisable for you to wear. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so these are your socks. So backpacking socks mostly are thick, like they are very thick, to protect you from the friction, which is when you're wearing your shoes. There's friction that happens when you're wearing your hiking shoes, and to protect you from that friction, because when that friction happens, you have blisters. So they are thick to protect you from that friction. And you also need to keep extra pairs to change, like what I was saying, which most of the time you need. Sometimes you can even get inside the water when you're doing a backpacking. There is no way that there's no trail that have a bridge, and you have to pass through the water. So when you're on the other side of the river or on the other side of a brook, then you need to take off your socks and put a fresh pair of socks, okay? So that you avoid a lot of things. Some of us, we have bad stinking feet, hey? And we need to have at least 3 or 4 pairs to change, because you never know where you're going, and you may sweat a lot, and you need to keep on changing your socks, okay? Next slide, please. Okay, and then as it is for t-shirts, for shirts to wear when you are doing your backpacking, wear a cotton shirt because they are comfortable, and if possible, wear long sleeved ones to protect you from the sun and delay dehydration. We know sometimes we say, you know what, I love wearing my short sleeved, because the short sleeves, we find it most comfortable. Even myself, I find it most comfortable, but it's advisable to wear a long sleeve one because it delays dehydration. Like it protects you. It's delaying dehydration, because when you are when you get how can I say it, when it gets hot, right? When it gets hot and you're wearing a short sleeve shirt, so you actually all the water that is in your body is being taken out, but whereas when you're wearing a long shirt, it's protecting you from it's protecting the water from your body to go out fast, if I can use that word. So you need to wear a long sleeve shirt. So when you are doing your backpacking, just try as much as possible to wear a long sleeves. And all right, I see there is a hand. Is this hand from before? Because I see this hand was from before, and I'm sure it didn't get lowered. I don't know. All right, we have a hand. You can address that. I cannot see from my end whose hand is up. It's just saying a hand is up. Did you forget to lower your hand, or you have something to say? Come on.
No, I think you can continue, ma'am, because no one is speaking.
Oh, okay. So I think that hand, they forgot to lower it, because I've been seeing it for quite some time. Okay. And then now we're going to the hiking pants. Like what hiking pants you should wear. So most of the hiking pants, next slide, please. Most of the hiking pants, they have oh, okay, all right. Can you please go to the next slide, and then we can come back to the head one. The one with the hiking pants. Okay, let me explain the hiking pants. Maybe this slide is not here or something. I don't know what happened there. So when you are going on a backpacking, there are the hiking pants, proper hiking pants. So they have 2 parts, right? They have a zip, like just on your knee, so that you can either make it a short or make it long. So they are very comfortable. And also you can make them short if you feel like, and you can make them long also if you feel like. And they also have, you can go back to the head, to the slide with the head. I'm sure it's not here. So these pants, they actually, as much as the long sleeve also protect you from they delay dehydration, the long pants also serve the same purpose of delaying dehydration. But most of us, we like to wear short ones. The short ones are okay because we feel much comfortable in them and feel much lighter in them. But wearing long pants now, they also protect you because remember, when you're doing backpacking, it's in the forest most of the times. It's in the places where it's where we have lots of trees and lots of animals and creepy things that we find. So most of the times we can brush along things like poisonous plants. We can brush along things like caterpillars. Some of the caterpillars are poisonous, and you end up having rashes that you can have and all that stuff. So wearing long pants will help you to avoid getting all those rashes that you get from poisonous plants and other creeping creatures that you find in the forest. Okay. And also you need to wear a hat with a wide brim, right? This will protect your head because you know your head is the center of your body and it needs to be protected. So you need to protect your head. Wear a hat with a wide brim. So that's the hat that I've put there. It's the width and also a head circumference, how it should be. If you don't have that, but just try and have a hat with a wide brim to protect you from the sun. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so when you are going on a winter break, because it's winter or because it's cold, it doesn't mean we have to stop. Backpacking, right? We are pathfinders. We find our path even if it means it's cold, even if it means it's raining. We still can do outdoor activities. Okay, so dress in layers to control your body temperature, and also put on thermal underwears so that they can help you regulate your body temperature, because these ones hold the heat and they help you to regulate your body temperature. So when you're going outdoors, when it's cold, just layer yourself. So we have 3 layers. There's the base, and there's the insulation layer and the shell. Okay, so the base is where I said those are your thermal underwears or just any warm underwears, but thermal ones are very good. And then you have your insulation layer. These are your polyester fleeces, insulated jackets with the synthetic ones. They can be there. And also the 3rd layer, which I said is the shell. I'm sure you can see it, is the shell. So the shell, it's more like protection clothing, which is warm, and it's the outer layer, your jackets and your hiking shorts. And also the shoes that you have to choose when it's cold. You need to get shoes that are warm, and you need to have socks that are warm. If it's like really, really cold, put on some gloves, thermal gloves, and put on a hat. This time you don't need a hat with a brim, but a winter hat and some buffs. We all know buffs, right? These are the things that you put. They're more like socks. In my days, we used to call them leg warmers. Like you put them just on top or over. You put them on your legs. You put them on your legs, and they're really good. And they'll keep you warm as well. These are for like really cold weather. As you can see, this lady's backpacking in snow. So when you are going like on really cold weathers, then you can put on your buffs. But our weather is not so bad. Even if it's cold, you can just put your thermals and your shell, and be fine. And those who live like in cold countries, then they need 3 layers. But we are really fine. Ours is not as bad as Europe and other countries that have like bad weather conditions. Okay, and then now you need to know also when it's raining, it doesn't mean we also have to stop. Next slide, please, Kamo. So when it's raining, it doesn't mean you have to stop as well. Wear a rain poncho. So that's a rain poncho. It's more like we say a raincoat, right? So just make sure your backpack is really covered, so that we don't want you don't want your tent, you don't want your clothes in your backpack to get wet. So just make sure your rain poncho covers your backpack and it covers your body as well, but also it gives you like room to walk. Don't have a poncho that is tight or anything like that, but flexible enough for you to be able to walk, and room enough so that it covers also it covers your backpack. You said, Pathfinders, we don't stop because it's raining. We don't stop. We just go. Okay. And then we go to the next one, which says, know the principles in selecting a good quality backpack in an emergency. What might be used in place of a backpack? This is quite a nice one, because I would need you to do this at some point, and if you do it, I need some pictures when you send in your work through. Okay, so your backpack, next slide please. There are 3 types of backpacks. You see, there's an external frame, there is internal frame pros, there is internal frame, and there is also the one without the frame. So in the olden days, they used to use the external frames. You still can find those ones, but they are not as popular in this day and era as it was back then. Nowadays, the more popular one is the white one, the one without the frame. But my favorite is the second one, which has the internal frame. It's quite flexible, and when you're adjusting it, it's actually good, because it has some balance on it. So that's my favorite one. Although it's quite heavier, but still it's flexible. It's more comfortable, and I would recommend the second one in the middle, if you are if you are deciding, or when you're deciding on what to buy. But the third one is the one in the fashion, right? You know, Pathfinders in fashion, we can never separate them. The third one is the one in fashion right now. It's actually cool, right? But it's a bit uncomfortable. I find it a bit uncomfortable, and also it's less durable, because the frame on these two, they actually help it to hold the bag. But this one, because it doesn't have a frame, it's less durable, and you may find yourself in a few years to come buying another one, and I'll still be going with my internal frame one. And surprisingly, the third one is like very expensive compared to the two to the first two backpacks. Okay. And the next slide, please. We're now looking at the improvised one. So there goes the improvised one. You have, using your jacket or a long sleeved t-shirt, tie or close. So you know where you're opening like the neckline, right? You have to tie the hole or you have to tie the neck hole, right? And then flip your shirt upside down, so that the neck hole is upside, the tied neck hole is upside, is down, is facing downwards. And now you have your hem up, and then you take the sleeves of your shirt, and then you tie the sleeves of your shirt to the corners of the hem, right? When you do that, ta-da, you have your backpack. Okay, but this is an emergency one, like a real emergency. There is a real emergency, then you can use that as your backpack. So I would love you to send me pictures on how you did this one, because it's actually fun. And make sure you don't get into trouble with your parents for doing this, because if you put heavy things in that backpack, in that improvised backpack, you can find yourself with food on the ground. Okay, so you don't have to overload it. That's why we said it's an emergency one, like when it's real emergency, your backpack, something happened or something like that, but it's a real emergency one, so that you know how to survive without a backpack when you actually have a long sleeve shirt or when you have a jacket. Okay, next slide please. So number 4, it says, know the essential items to be taken on a backpack trip. Know the essential items to be taken on a backpack trip. Okay. So when packing your backpack, pack as light as possible and ask yourself the following questions. Do I really need it? Okay, you're going on a backpack trip and you know the place that you're going. Obviously, you are trail camping, remember? And when you're trail camping, we know as ladies or as young pathfinders, we like our heels so much. You are in the forest, love, and you don't need heels. Do you really need heels there? No, I don't think you do, right? And do you really need a fancy dress, a long dress? I don't think you do, right? And do you really need your glass shoe? I don't think you do. So make sure you ask yourself these 3 questions. Do you really need it? What are you really going to use it? What would be the worst scenario if you don't take it, right? So if you don't take your heels, what will be the worst scenario? Nothing. I don't see anything wrong. Are you really going to use it? You know, we tend to pack unnecessary things in our backpacks, and we make our backpacks full of the things that we don't need, and we leave the things that we need the most. So make sure when you're doing a backpack trip, ask yourself these most crucial, important questions. Do you really need it? Are you really going to use it? And what will be the worst scenario if you don't take it with? Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so there is an almost pack, like the things that you need in your backpack. You need a map, you need a compass, you need a knife, you need a flashlight, water and food, first aid kit, rain gear, fire lighting equipment, sleeping bag or pad, extra clothes. That's your hiking boots, hiking shoes, socks there, backpacking stove, and fuel. Don't forget the fuel. If you're not using a hiking gas stove, make sure if you're using a stove that needs fuel, you have your fuel. Don't forget your tent, and don't forget your toiletries. Okay, if there's any question, come on in the comment section. You can stop me at any point, and then we can discuss the question as we go. All right. And your shovel, that's the most important thing. Make sure you take your shovel or your digging stick for your number 2. Remember, okay. And then of course you need food. You need food there. Anything else that you need, that you think you need on a hiking trail that is not there? A quick one. Let's go, Pathfinders. We are active, right? Let's go. What else do you think you need on when you're going on a backpacking trip that is not listed there? What else do you think you need? I think I've got a quiet audience here. I have a very quiet audience here. Okay. But there is a lot that you need there. There is a lot that you need. As I said, you need food and you need quite a lot of things. Okay. So make sure you have everything that you want, that you need when you're going on a hiking trip. So the best way is to put your list down, and then as you pack your bag, just make sure you follow the list. Do I have my flashing light in? Do I have my toiletries in? Do I have my water? Do I have my food? Do I have a knife? Because at some point you might, obviously you need a knife sometimes for cutting the trees where you're going to camp. And sometimes when you're cooking, you need to cut something, then you need to have a knife. So just put your essential list down, and as you pack your bag, make sure you follow the list. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. What kind of sleeping bag and pad are best for your camping area? Know at least 3 kinds of each that are available. So most of the times we have 3 kinds of sleeping bags that are available, which is the mummy, we have a rectangle, and we have a barrel. And then you can read on each one of them, like the mummy, best warmth to weight ratio. So this one, mostly when it's winter, you can go with the mummy one because it's more like following your body, and it keeps it also helps you to keep the heat in compared to the rectangular one when it's winter. When it's summer, then you can opt for a rectangular one because it's more open. Okay, it's more open, And then the bottom one can be for both. You can have it for winter. You can also have it for summer. And then you can read along as you go. You can read along the other pros and cons on each of the sleeping bags. And make sure when you are packing your sleeping bag, okay, do not squash it. Do not leave it squashed, okay? So in its outer bag, just hang it like when you get where you camping for the night, just leave it hanging somewhere so that it breathes. Leave room for it to breathe. When it's not in use, do not squash your sleeping bag. Okay, the next slide, please. All right, so there we go. The rectangular one, as I said, you're gonna get the PDF and then you read along. You can go to the next one. Okay, so that's for the rectangular one. Don't worry about writing notes, okay, because you're going to get the PDF. So don't worry about writing notes. You get these notes in a PDF form. Okay, and then sleeping liners and pads. So sleeping liners work as insulation layers. They help regulate your body heat. So for me, a sleeping liner, it's more like a blanket, right? So you have your sleeping bag, and inside your sleeping bag, you put your sleeping liner, all right? Just like how we have our bed liners at home, okay? So you put your sleeping liner inside. It helps when it's cold. It helps you to keep to regulate your body heat so that you don't feel cold. And then sleeping pads. Sleeping pads are for to keep you off the ground, okay? So these ones, they provide cushion, okay, so that you are not on the ground. Because if you just put your camping tent, and most of the time we are not going with the camping tents that that are big and fancy. It's just more like a small one, and then the layer of the camping tent, it's so thin that it's just protecting you from the grass and nothing else. But if you have your sleeping pad, then you put your sleeping pad on the you put your sleeping pad on the floor, and then you put your then you can put your sleeping bag, and then you inside your sleeping layer. So it helps you for cushioning purposes. Okay, the next slide, please. Sleeping pads. Okay, so these are the functions that I was just saying. It provides cushioning and provide insulation between the sleeper and the ground. Okay, the next slide, please. All right, so it's know how to pack a backpack properly. Yeah. As we were speaking just now, most of us, we just pack for the sake of packing, okay? So, but you have to know how to pack your backpack properly, okay? Next slide, please. Okay, so that's how you pack it, according to Word for me, okay? You pack it according to Word. Move a bit forward, please. The next one, yes, that one. All right. So according to Word, so A, that's a medium gear. Items also needed frequently, like isn't the things that you need frequently, they should be on the top of your backpack. Most of the times we put something like the things that you use frequently are like your compass. The things that you need most, they should be on the top, okay? And then the B part that comes right at your back, like on your back, that's your heavy gear, your tent, your camp supplies, and electronics. They need to be on the B part, okay? And then the C, we said lighter gear, that's on the outer side, all right? So after B, you go to C, like the inner part of the backpack, where your bag is. That's where the heavier material is. And then just after that, you put your lighter gear, okay? And then D part, where it's the bottom one, it's your sleeping bag, your cords, the things that you don't need on frequently. You're going to sleep. It's in the morning now, and you're only going to sleep later, okay? So you don't need to put your camping tent on the top. Sorry, your sleeping bag on the top, but right at the bottom, okay? because it's something that you don't frequently use. Okay, so next slide, please. I think we can get more clarity on that. All right, so there you go. This one, I think it's more detailed. So as we're saying, the light things that you frequently use are on the top, and then the heavy things where there is red there, that's the things that are very heavy that you put where your back is. Because remember, you don't need to put heavy things on top, because it can also affect your neck. Because you see where it's highlighted there, where there is the yellow cloth and the purple cloth and the blue one, that's where the light things are, right, where it's highlighted there. So that part, most of the times it goes just on your neck. Okay, so we don't want to put heavy things on your neck, but rather on your back, because it's supported by the hips. It all comes down to the hips. So your heavy things need to come at the back so that your hips can support it, not your neckline. Okay, and then on the picture that is on the right, where there is that person that looks like he's running, the red person, that's where you put your first aid. Okay, where you can easily access it, and also your water needs to go where you can also easily access it, because you need your water all the time. So you need to easily access your water and your first aid kit. So those goes right next to you. You know, there's these side pockets that comes on the side. There you need to put on the other side your water, and on the other side your first aid kit, because you need those like as soon as yesterday when something happens. And your water, you need to frequently drink water, because we don't want to get you dehydrated. Okay, next slide, please. How to adjust your backpack properly. So there you go. It's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6 ways on how to adjust your backpack properly. I'm sure if you can zoom in, you can see. At first, you need to loosen the straps first. And then when you loosen your straps, then you need to position the hip straps. Like you need to position the hip straps, then tighten the shoulder straps. Pull them down. Okay, when you say tighten them, pull the shoulder straps down. Okay, and then when you do that, okay, just a second. Okay, yeah, and then tighten your shoulder straps. Right, when you tighten your shoulder straps, tighten them according to how you feel, because you can actually feel that, okay, this is balanced, and now like the weight of the backpack, you can actually you can feel that it's not all the way to the top, and it's also not all the way down. Okay, but it's just right at the center of your back. When you do that, then you go to number 4. Okay, where you position it correctly. Okay, and then when you do that, you can adjust now, and then you can fasten the chest one, adjust and fasten the chest one. When you know when you felt that the weight of your backpack is now at the center of your back, then you adjust the ones that are on your chest, so that you can tighten it. You don't want your backpack to go loose and then it's swaying on your back. You get tired really quickly if you do that, because it's more like it's taking all your energy, you know. So you need it close and close to your body. It's more like it's like attached to your body, so that it's not swaying left and right. And when you do that, then you go to number 6, where you can fasten the hip belt stabilizer straps. Okay, when you've done everything else, then you now have to fasten the hip belt stabilizers. All right, next slide, please. What type of food are best for backpacking? Okay, anyone who have anything that that they want to say, you know what, on a backpacking trip, I think I can take this, I think I can take this, I think I can take this. Okay, if you want, you can type in the comment section, but I would really appreciate if you quickly raise your hand, and then we can give you an opportunity to say 2 or 3 things. Okay, let's go. What type of food do you think is the best for backpacking?
Fruits and water.
Fruit and water. Okay, fruit and water. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, we can go to the next slide, sir. So most of the times when you are going for a backpacking, the best food that you can take are dehydrated foods. Okay, you don't need to take food that will get that will decay quickly or that will get rotten quickly. Okay, fruit is good for the first day, but when you know you're going for a long time. Okay, when you know you're going for a long time, you know you're going for 4 days, you know you're going for 5 days. Sometimes carrying your fresh bananas will not be advisable because they will get really soft. They'll they won't be nice to eat after that. So dried fruit is the best. Okay, you can have your fruit, but let them be dried because all the water that is in your fruit is taken out. So you can dehydrated fruit is the best, as it is very lightweight. That's number one, because a whole banana compared to a dried banana, a whole banana is really heavy. So we said you need to pack your backpack as light as possible, remember? So when you pack it as light as possible, also when you're considering food, pack your food as light as what as possible. Okay, so and they need to be nutritious also. You can buy food pre-packed, or you can package your food on your own. Next slide, please. Okay, so prepare a menu for a weekend backpack trip using food obtained from a grocery store. So this you need to do. Okay, you with your club, you need to organize a backpack trip. It's either a weekend one, or I don't know how many days you want to go. So you need to prepare a menu for that. Okay, so these are some of the ideas that you can have. You have nuts, you have granola, dried fruit, ready mixed flour for pancakes and waffles, and you can think along a lot of stuff. But when you are doing this, you should be very careful, because this is a tricky one, hey? Because given the days that we're living in, most of the people have got allergies, right? Most of the people have allergies. If it were in the countryside, most of abantu bahlala emakhaya, their allergies are not as much as we, right? I think you get what I'm saying. Tina Estala, in the cities, we have more allergies compared to the guys that live in the country, right? So because of people with allergies, you have to be very considerate. Most of some of the people, they don't eat nuts. So when you're doing your when you're preparing your menu, know the people that you have. Ask everyone, on what to have. If there's somebody who has allergies to nuts, know what to give that person. Instead of nuts, what should you give them? So when you're preparing, just be very careful and consider everybody, and everyone's diet must be included, so that you have a successful menu for your weekend backpacking trip. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. Learn the technique of measuring packaging and labeling backpack foods for your trip. So these are some of the ones that of the pictures that I've sent for you. So when you're doing it, do it according to days as well. Okay, so day number 1, I'm going to eat 1, 2, 3, 4 things. So for my breakfast, this is my lunch and this is my supper. Day number 2, my breakfast, my lunch, and my supper. Okay, so you can portion them according to days. You can portion them according to meals. Okay, and when you do that, you are not confused when you get there, because you can have all the things that you need in your backpack for food, but when you get there, you get confused. Okay, so I've got cereal, I have this, I have that, so what should I make for breakfast? 1, you're wasting time, and 2, you need to be very much organized. Okay, so you need to pack them as I said, according to days and according to meals. Now, day number 1, my breakfast will be this. Put your breakfast in 1 portion. Day number on my lunch, put your lunch in 1 portion, and then your dinner in 1 portion, and then put those 3 in 1 big Ziploc bag. Okay, and then that, and then you label that, like the picture that is underneath, you label that for day number 1, and then you label the other one day number 2, and you see that you enjoy your trip, because you are much organized, and you just don't have to to go through everything that you have. And that will also help you to keep your backpack organized and intact. Okay, let's go to slide number. All right, make a trail snack. When you are on trails, make sure you have snacks. As much as you have meals when you're walking, you also need trail snacks. My favorite is actually the energy bars. You know, those energy bars that you get. So you get them in oatmeal, you get them in peanut butter, you get them anything. So these are the ones that you can actually think of getting. And to those who eat meat, you can actually have your biltong on the snakes, but just remember not to throw the waste in the what, especially if it's not biodegraded. Don't throw your waste inside on the shelves. Keep your packages with you when you get where you get, and you just put it in a trash can, with the nearest trash can that you can have. Or you can just pick them nicely, and where after your backpack trip, because this will be small, remember, it's not like a big packet. This will be small. And the nice thing about these packets, when you fold them nicely, they can actually be as very, very small, and then you can put them in your backpack. When you get home, dispose them nicely. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so it says know the prevention, symptoms of, and the first aid for. So there's a snake there, and there's some caterpillars there. So you need to know how to prevent, and you need to know how to get at the first aid when you have a snake bite. When you're bitten by a snake, how do you perform first aid for that? Okay, next slide, please. All right, so there's sunburn, there's blisters, there's frostbite, hypothermia, heat stroke, heat exhaustion, snake bite, first aid, cramps, and dehydration. I'm not going to go all these with you because of my time, but what you can do, you have ample time to do this honor. So what you can do, you can just go through all of them and write short notes on how you're going to do a first aid, and how you're going to prevent some of these things like sunburn. How you're going to prevent sunburn, just sunscreen, and what we said about your head with a big brim. And if it is blisters, just make sure you change your socks regularly. Frostbite, make sure you put on warm clothes. So I'm not going to go through all this with you, but just make small notes on how you're going to prevent, or how you're going to perform the first aid for any for these how many are there? It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Yeah, on these 9 things. So the next one that I think I explained with you is heat exhaustion, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it is heat exhaustion. So this is what you need to do. So the PDF is coming. As I said, you don't need to take notes, but with heat exhaustion, it is most common condition, because by working okay, caused by working out or exercising in hot spaces. We know we live in a very nice country, and our temperatures sometimes they get really hot. It's actually good and bad at the same time when you're hiking or when you're doing your backpacking trip. So you need to know what to do when you have heat exhaustion. Okay, so you have to do what you need to do when you have heat exhaustion. Just know how to do the first aid for that, and how you can also prevent yourself or your friend from having heat exhaustion. All right, next slide, please. All right, and also have your first aid kit in your backpack, okay, and know how to use it. Don't just go to Discam or to Clicks and you buy your first aid kit. One, you don't know what is inside your emergency kit, so you have to know what is inside your emergency kit, okay? And you have to know, okay, there is a safety pin inside, there is a scissors inside, excuse me, there are gloves inside, tweezers, and you need to know the things that are in your emergency kit, and also know how to use them. Okay, when it's a goose, why do I need a goose in my in my first aid kit for to begin with. Okay, so when you know that it can be used as a dressing pad, and then you know, okay, okay, so if somebody gets hurt or if I get hurt, how am I going to use the goose? All right, so it also need to have your basic first aid owner for that, so that you can also perform first aid on yourself or on your friend when you are doing backpacking. All right, next slide, please. Next, all right, and then number 10, it's according to your weight, what is the maximum number of pounds or kgs you should be allowed to carry? Okay, so a loaded backpacking pack should not weigh more than 20% of your body weight. All right, if you are 68 kgs, your pack should not exceed 13 kgs. Okay, so you need to calculate now. You need to calculate on how much you weigh and what is 20% of your weight. And you use that 20% of your weight, and you must make sure that your backpack does not weigh more than 20% of your weight. So in your when you are doing this assignment, when you're doing this on this requirement, I'll ask you to measure how many kgs you are required to weigh. So as I said, just make sure it's not more than 20% of your weight. So you just calculate your weight, and then you calculate what is 20% of your weight. Then you tell me how much you as a pathfinder you are required to carry. Okay, next slide, please. Know 3 ways to find direction without a compass, and demonstrate at least 2, because it's a virtual thing. We won't be able to demonstrate on them, but you just explain a little bit on 3 ways that can help you to find a direction without a compass, because most of us we have now relied on our phones for navigation systems and everything like that. But you have to also know how to find your way when you don't have your phone. Sometimes network can be really difficult in mountainous areas. You won't have network. And if it is that you have like a real compass, maybe you don't have a real compass, how are you going to find direction? Okay, next slide, please. So use a wristwatch. Okay, so that's how you use it. You just have to use not these smart watches that we have nowadays, but those hand watches. Okay, the hand watches that have the minute hand, the second hand, and the hour hand. All right, those watches, like the old watches. Make sure if you're going on a backpack, if you don't have a compass, just try and find one of those and put them in your backpack, and then you can have you can be able to find direction using that. So you just place the watch on a level surface. I would say your palm of the hand, but most of us, we tend to shake when we are panicking, when you're losing our way, we tend to shake and all that stuff. So find just a level ground and put it on a level surface, and then point the hour hand towards the sun. So wherever the sun is, irrespective of where the sun is, just point the hour hand where the sun is, right? Then find an imaginary line halfway between the hour hand and the 12 on the watch face, right? And then that imaginary line point is the south. This means north would be 180 degrees on the other direction. Okay, if you can, maybe if you still have time, you can wait and watch the sun. When you see the sun setting, that simply means that's your west. And when you see the sun rising, that means it's your east. But most of the times you won't have that much time to wait for the sun to rise or to wait for the sun to set. So you may actually go for the hour hand option. All right. And the next slide, please. You can make a needle compass. This also needs you to be stable and needs a little bit of water when you're doing this. So when you got your first aid kit, obviously we said you need to have a first aid kit. There is a needle in that. Okay, so you can take a leaf rub your needle on the silk or wool material, okay, about 100 times. So just rub it until static electricity is produced. Ne? When it's produced, then it creates a magnetic charge, right? So lay a needle on a leaf place in a small pool or cup, just in a cup. Maybe there's no water where you are. So in your cup of water, you just find a small leaf that can fit in the cup of water. And then you put your leaf gently on top of the water, right? So that it doesn't sink, or there's no water that comes or on the leaf, on top of the leaf, right? And then nicely and gently put your needle on top of the what? On top of the leaf that is inside the water, okay? And then the needle should orient in a north-south axis towards the magnetic north, okay? The thicker end of the needle eye, where you put your thread, the needle eye, where you put your thread, will favor the northern direction. And then you have your north, and then you know where you are going or where you are coming from, all right? Next slide, please. Okay, observe nature, okay? So I loved it when it was talking about the moss trees. Most of the times we don't have that, but when you are doing your backpacking where it's a rainforest, moss doesn't like it. It doesn't like it, favors shades the most. So when it favors shades, that's where that's where you have your northern side. So most of the times the moss on a tree, it goes on the northern side of a tree. So that's how you get your direction. It's simple as that. You just look at the moss and say, okay, so that's the north. Where the moss is, that's where your north is. Okay, next slide, please. Show a proper way to put on and take off your backpack alone and with a partner. So this one, we have two ways that you can put on your backpack on your own, which is the knee assistant and the thigh assistant. Okay, next slide, please, Kamo. The knee assistant and the thigh assistant. Okay, so the first one is you just stand and push your backpack holding the straps, put on one leg close to the backpack with the knee bent, and then slide the pack to your up your leg to rest on your thigh, and then twist your torso carefully, not too much, because sometimes it's really heavy. And then if you twist vigorously, then you're going to hurt yourself. So carefully twist your body so that you can slip the same arm as the leg on which the pack rests into the appropriate shoulder, and then you strap your backpack. Okay, stand up and then you strap your backpack appropriately, as we said on how you should position your backpack. Okay, and then you put on your backpack like that. All right. And then the next one, when you have somebody else, just ask someone to help you lift the backpack. They help you lift the backpack. You just bend a little bit, adjust to the level of the backpack, and then you have them pick up the backpack on the front, so you can slide it on just as the gentleman is doing right there, as you can see. And then when they help you do that, you stand up, you put your straps, and then when it's positioned nicely on your back, then you fasten your backpack. Okay, and don't forget to thank your body for helping you to put your backpack. Okay, manners are also good for us as pathfinders. All right, and then number 13, it says participate in a weekend backpack trip of at least 5 miles, that is 8 kilometers, to a site not accessible by vehicle, and put your own meals. Most of the times we are doing our backpacking trips where it's accessible by vehicles, I'm sure because of where we're staying, but still, as long as you participate, this is one thing that you need to do with your club. And when you do it, make sure you send us photos like, we have done it, Meme, Stella, we have done it. Okay, it's something that you need to prepare for, you need to plan for. It can be done maybe 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year from now, but make sure you do this part of your honor. It's really important, and that's where you're going to practice on what you're going to when you're going to the meal that you're going to plan for your backpack. Okay, so that is more about it on the on our honor, and we have come to the end of it. Any questions that we have? Any questions? Do we have any questions from the chat box, Gamo?
I'm not seeing any questions. No questions so far in the chat.
Okay.
But I think I have a comment just to say,
Okay.
because it's also a relearning from my side. I would say, I think the most awesome thing that I've learned here, which I forgot, or which I thought was easy, is when you talked about packing your food. It becomes much more easier because now at a place like that, sometimes you don't even have time. So when you packed your food accordingly for your morning, even if you say day one, this is what you're eating, day two, day three, is your breakfast, your lunch, what's going to eat in the evening, it becomes much more easier because when you open your bag, everything is packed accordingly. You just take out what you're going to eat, then you just prepare, you eat. It just makes things much more easier. And also, you, as the day progresses, your bag becomes less heavier because of how you pack things and how you take out things and eat them and also do that. I think that's the most wonderful thing that I've learned. It slipped my mind, or I had no idea, but it just came back when you were presenting that it's actually important to pack your food, because if you pack them also, for animal purposes, if it's packed correctly and in a proper container way, it's sealable. Even animals cannot come when you are asleep, and animals how they are, they can just come because they're smelling your food and everything like that. Even after eating, just pack, wash your dishes, and make sure that all is well. Thank you much.
Most welcome, sir. All right, if we don't have any questions, if we don't have any more comments, I'll leave it back to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mama Stella, for a wonderful presentation about backpacking. Now we're going to move to our next honor, but before we move to our next honor, maybe we should have a 5 minutes break so that we can get ready for our next honor. So I think we can just have a quick 5 minutes break. We'll be back at it's now 11:15. So can we meet at maybe 21 minutes past 11 so that we can enter into our next presentation? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now we're going to enter into our second honor for the day, which is social media. And we are going to get on it. I'm just gonna share my slide, but before I do so, I think I need to close. Okay, let me just do this. Okay. Okay. Let me just move to my previous slide. Hope everyone can hear me. Let's get to it. Today we're going to talk about social media. We use social media every day for a lot of interactions. We use social media for personal reasons, for ministerial reasons, for connecting with friends and family, or just being updated with things that are happening all around the world. So we know that social media plays an important part in whatever we do in the world, because now, back in the days, in order for you to get information, for instance, if I had an auntie or an uncle living across the border, living in a different province. In order for me to get messages from that person, I needed one, maybe to send a mail, which can take anything between 4 weeks and a month to arrive. I had to physically travel, whether in a horse or whether by going in a boat, whatever forms of transport, just to deliver the message. But now, because we're having social media, it becomes much more easier, because now it is better than a telephone, because back in the days you needed to go and type the telephone, and it was a huge lot of process. But today it becomes much more easier. Hence, today we are able to present presentations using social media. We're able to share and do a lot of things using social media. By the way, my name is Kamohelo Lebese, and I forgot to put the date of today, but we are aware that today it is the 20th of March, 20th of March, 2022. Now, when we look at social media, your question that you need to ask yourself is, okay, I understand I have social media. I understand I have an Instagram account. I have a YouTube channel. I have a Facebook page, Facebook group. I'm part of such platforms. But now the question is, what is social media? Now, social media is any digital tool that allows users to quickly share content with public. No, social media now, it's now a place whereby I can share content like your pictures, I can share your photos, I can share your voice notes, I can share even text. So social media enables us to do so, whether it's in a private chat, whether is in a particular social people that we talk to, it becomes much more easier to share such things. Now it says some are like Twitter, specializing in sharing links, short messages, and others are like Instagram and TikTok, which are built to optimize sharing of photos and videos. For some of us who are having TikToks accounts, we upload videos, whether we are saying something to empower people or we are doing challenges that we are seeing online. And we do that, or in Instagram where we post photos, videos, trying to engage people. Yesterday we had Global Youth Day, people posting their posters, that in Cosmos City we're having such a program, in Dobsonville we're having such a program. It helps to promote also certain things. Now, in everything that we do, there is a negative side and a positive side. And now I'm going to enter into us understanding basically the negative and the positive side of social media, so that we get actually what we are dealing with in terms of social media. Now, when we talk about social media, we're going to enter into the positive side of social media, the benefit of social media, the good side that we can use social media. Now, when you are looking here, I have pointed out 7 things in regards to this. Now, number 1, I'm just going to read a few so that we are able to understand. Now, online life is completely equipped with uniting individuals from all foundations because of a typical intrigue. Now, if we're having a Global Youth Day, now we are all able to connect at that particular day, because in social media we can use what we call hashtags. And for the Global Youth Day that was here yesterday, we used hashtag GYD 2022. It is an abbreviation of Global Youth Day 2022. And once you post on social media, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook, when you're posting your picture, you as your club going out in your community, you say, okay, for example, in the description, you can write, we had a nice time at Cosmos City, or we had a nice time at Dobsonville, whatever the case may be. Then at the end, you put hashtag GYD 2022. Then now when somebody presses the hashtag, you are able to see all people around the country, around the world, who are doing the Global Youth Day. So it becomes beneficial, because now we are able to see, oh, okay, I'm seeing Alexandra was doing this at Global Youth Day. We are seeing different conferences, and it becomes much more easier because it is now a united thing. Now, when you look at number 2, it says online networking. Let me just try to do this. I'm just going to mute everybody. so that I'm able to present properly. Then I'll just unmute or raise your hand if there's a question. Now, when you look at number 2, it says now online networking is an amazing device that can be utilized for advertising and advertisement. You know, as people who are in entrepreneurs or us in the ministry, you understand, because we were having honors. Now, when we were having honors, I went to Facebook and I promoted this like this on Facebook. I showed that no, as a Westland, we are having this event. So I am advertising. I'm showing people that what we are doing so that people who may forget, oh, kind of we're having honors today, they can be reminded, because people are always on their social media. They're always on their screens. So as they are scrolling on Instagram, they're able to see that, no, man, we are having a program on the 20th of March, and it's from 10 to 1. We're having social media, we're having camping safety, we're having backpacking. So, okay, man, let me remind my pathfinders, or let me attend myself. So it becomes much more easier for us to do so. It enables us to do things properly. Now, when we look at number 3, it says you can discover things, individuals, and assets. You understand? If you need to promote something, if you need to sell something, you can do that via social media. You understand? They need to purchase or sell something. It becomes much easier. When you go to Facebook, we have what we call marketplace, whereby you can post your things which you are selling. You can run an ad. You know, you can even customize it to the people in your neighborhood. Maybe if you're having a cleaning company whereby you're cleaning your mats or you're cleaning windows, and you want to target people within your community, within your range, you're able to do so now. You can do it and you can say promote to people who are around Soweto, for argument's sake, who are around Johannesburg, who are around Gauteng, so that your clients are able to say, no, this person is a local business around Gauteng, around Johannesburg, around Soweto. You can even scale it down to your particular community. So it becomes much more easier to do that. So that is one of the beautiful advantages that we can use social media. Now, when we look at number 4, it helps us. It says here, web-based life can utilize to gain others. You know, when we're talking about gaining others in individuals, thinking in a subject of intrigue. When it talks about subject of intrigue, it simply means that there's a particular topic. Now, if there's a particular topic, in social media, you're able to structure it down to one topic by using hashtags or by using a search. So it becomes much more easier if you're talking about Pathfinder. If you go to Facebook and say Pathfinder, you're able to get Pathfinder, you're able to get things about Pathfinder and similar words. You know, there are cars which are named by Pathfinder, but if you can say Pathfinder, maybe club, now it categorizes to certain people that you can engage in certain groups, certain pages, certain discussions, certain topics, and you're able to, it becomes much more easier to interact. Now, when we look at number 5, it says, the important thing, it says, number 6 rather, it says, is it number 5? Oh, it's number 6. It says, data information can spread rapidly over a web-based life. When you talk about data and information, anything like announcements in the country takes out data of, okay, how many people are infected by COVID, how many people, the death toll of people, how many people are now recovered. Now, after that, it collects data. Then when you go to the government Department of Health, and you go to the website, automatically there is already polls there to show data of where we are as a nation in terms of the COVID and the pandemic. So it becomes much more easier. Now, when you look at number 6, it says a web-based life is generally difficult for abusive governments to control. Now, you understand when it talks about abusive governments to control, it simply means that, you know, you are able to put out your point of view and how you think without being controlled to say, do not post this, post that. Now, it helps us to engage as people who are seeing certain issues in our country. We are able to say, no, through social media, you are able to comment without the government, for instance, saying, no, we don't want this comment, move it. They are not able to do so. You understand? It becomes a safer place to post what you think, to post your thought that, no, the government is doing this, the government is doing that. We need to fix this in our community. So you can scale it down to national government, to provincial, and even to your own governments in your local place, which is your wards, and everything. It becomes much more easier to do that and to post that. Yes, that's why you find out that when you go to Facebook, when you go to such groups, like maybe there's groups like your Pinville Watch or Shawela group, whereby everything they post things like that. Maybe in the community there was a robbery, they're able to post and say, no, in our country, in our neighborhood, you need to protect. You are able to engage without being restricted by certain things like that. Now, large number 7 says large scale of protect the entire revolutions. Protests and revolutions have been organized via social media. Now, protests, you can see them everywhere. That no, we are meeting at Paraguana Hospital. We are having a strike because they are now going to chase away 600 nurses. We are all meeting at 8 o'clock. Wear your white t-shirts or wear your what. And people are now going in numbers. So because they saw that there's a protest happening, let us go in numbers. You know, posters come out, videos of people coming out. So it becomes much more easier. And even when we see things like even illegal things which happen in the social media are able, in real life, when they are protesting, they're able to do them through social media. That's why they say protest and entire revolutions. You understand? Sometimes they become unled revolutions, which nobody knows who started it, but they happen through social media, through what they see. You understand? So it becomes certain things that you understand that how can it happen? For instance, protest or things that we see is that when people are attacking shops, for instance, we had a major thing that happened last year. People attacking malls where it started in KZN, now it comes in Johannesburg. It spread throughout the country via, and social media played a huge part in that, because we used to see, we were traumatized. We saw them in Facebook that, hey, at KZN, they're doing this, and it spread. So you're able to see that as much as social media is good, there is that downside that even bad things can also spread. Now, talking about the bad things, we are now getting into the negative sides of social media, and which we need to take into consideration and which are very much important. Now, when we look at this one, we're having number 1, posting negative data can have a bad effect. When you post things which are wrongful, you know, when you're posting things which are negative on social media, you can be the one being fetched. Or even if you post things that can criminate you, meaning that it can make you to be a suspect, or it can put you to be a criminal, or they can, the government or the police can be careful, can pay attention to your profile, what you are posting and everything, can lead you or possibly lead you to be arrested. Because even in the police, we are having a department under the police which are working through social media. They're working through cyber, so that they're able to see what people are doing, what people are posting, and it can put you in serious problems. So do not put such things that you know that they will lead you to be in the wrong hands of justice. And I love this quote that people say that once you post something on social media, anything that you post on social media becomes something that will be there forever. Meaning that even if I can post something which is wrong, then I end up deleting it at the end, then somebody has already downloaded it. And when somebody has already downloaded it and I delete it from my side, there's no point, because now it lives forever. That's why they say when you post something in social media, take note that it can live forever. Even if you say, you are posted, let me remove it. I have already downloaded it. I can reshare it, you know. And once I have reshared it, there's no way that you can take it out. You cannot inbox me and say, remove it. What if I do not want to remove it? Or what if that person who has posted it is not even, it doesn't have a name, because some users are user 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and some numbers. You don't know even who's that person. You understand? Because people just create fake accounts. You understand? They create even a whole person called for the term is catfishing. They create fake accounts just to do that and share your information. So be careful in what you do. Number 2, it talks about, let me just highlight it. Number 2, Number two, right? Number two. Now, number two talks about PC infections and malware. You understand? Joins are shared over web-based life. When we're talking about malware, things that you download from the web. So you need to be careful about things that you download when you're going to malicious websites. And if we were, I think we're going to talk about it in the next honors, where we talk about what you need to look for when you are entering a website, how to check that this is a good website or this is a bad website. And once you download things, ensure that you're downloading them is a trust source. Even on social media, on Facebook, somebody can just put a link, download my what, and you download it, then it affects your PC because malware is installed. Malware can be anything. For instance, if you just download things from the internet or from Facebook or from everywhere, it can cause your laptop or somebody can be spying on you. As we are speaking right now, you may tell yourself that no, your camera is off, but your camera is on, your audio is on. So that means somebody's listening to you, somebody's seeing you, somebody, when you're typing in your password, somebody's able to say, okay, this person is typing such a password. So it's very much important that you also be careful where you download the things, where you access your things, so that it becomes much more difficult for people to do what? For people to come in and do wrong things. Now we go to number three. It talks about in an event that in the event that online life is utilized, in an incorrect manner, it tends to drive individuals from what could be something that is useful, and it turns it to something bad. Now, we see this in a lot of states where somebody posted something innocently, then somebody drives it according to his understanding or wrongfully so without understanding, and becomes something that is bad instead of something which is good. You understand? You can post a picture, but you don't understand what is happening behind the picture, and the comment section will kill you. The comment section will just kill you without even understanding. So that's some of the things that happen when we are utilizing social media. Now, now when you talk about number five, it talks about now the incorrect. Same with number three. Incorrect, harming, and even hazardous data can immediately spread throughout the internet-based life. We talked about it last year during the pandemic, when there was looting and everything. Such things spread throughout the country within minutes, within days. When you open TikTok, when you open Instagram, when you open Facebook, when you look at the news, it was just a chaotic thing. So even bad things are able to spread rapidly, like a wildfire. When you understand what a wildfire can do, when you put social media and when you're in the wilderness, because when you're in the wilderness, just a small match of when you just light it one time and you throw it in the ground, it can burn for days and days because fire destroys. Same applies with social media. Once something has been posted, reshares, they are resharing it. People are now screen recording it, posting it on WhatsApp statuses. It becomes a chaotic thing. So that's one thing that we need to be mindful of, which is the negative side of social media. Now, this one, I just want to stress it enough to all pathfinders and leaders who are here today, is that we are having kids who are having social media, and we as parents, we need to be mindful of this. Kids, predators utilize online life to draw youngsters. Criminals may spot your family is away, founded by your excursion photographies, and utilize to depend on your home. It can also your home, your name, your mother's original name or last name, which is your maiden name, and so forth. So even when you are doing your vacations and you go somewhere, it is advisable not to post. But you can post maybe 2 weeks after. Then you post, oh, it was nice. Or you post, hey, out on or you just post it was nice, it becomes much more easier to post after. Because if you're going to post on your status, even on your status, because some of the times you are having family members, we're in a dark age, because we are in a dark age. Let's talk about this one. It is not only even people who are close to us can be the ones who are going to sabotage us, because they know when you are posting, when your children are posting, oh, they're not there. They went to visit somewhere in Limpopo, and in the house there's no part. That is an opportunity now to go and steal. It's an opportunity to go burn the house. It's an opportunity now to go vandalize the house. And when you come back from that vacation, it becomes painful. So as much as you love posting, take pictures, take a lot of pictures, but refrain from posting them. Refrain from showing anyone else. Just keep them to yourself. It's for your own purpose. And on a later stage, even if it's 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after, or when you have came back home, if you have that urge of posting, post them. But I recommend people not to post when they're out at vacations, even if you're going for a dinner, lunch, whatever, because people can take any opportunity to do anything which is wrong, because you're having your neighbors on your status, because you are Maki. You're having Maki on your WhatsApp. Then Maki sees, oh, Maki is not here. Oh, let me just go and see. You understand? Because he knows when some things are happening, okay, knows what's in your house or anything. Be careful of that. Do not just post. And one also something to note is that do not use your pet name, your mother's last names for your passwords for social media, when you talk about social media, because now people are able to see, okay, his pet name is Bobby, for example. Then, okay, maybe I can try his Facebook password, maybe his Facebook password, and you have written your password as your favorite pet name, Bobby. Then when he writes Bobby, password accepted. So what you post on social media can be what even they give, okay, his dog name is Bobby. That means maybe they tried the password Bobby. Okay, it enters. Okay, it means it's Bobby. And you have set in all your passwords as Bobby. Bobby for Facebook, Bobby for Twitter. But they can access everything. And it's also advisable to not have different passwords for different social media, so that if your Facebook is hacked or whatever the case may be, your Twitter and all accounts are protected. Don't just have streamline of the same password, because if you enter one, you enter all. So be careful and be mindful of that. And you can also use things like your if you don't understand it, but it's there also, we can talk about it when you're asking the questions. They call it second verification. You can also enable your second verification, so that even if password is stolen, then you can send it to your phone number or your other number, so that you're able to get that verification. And I also advise people, have a different number that nobody knows, so that if somebody can steal your phone, whatever the case may be, and tries to verify it by second verification, you have another number, another SIM card, which nobody knows about. Nobody has that phone number where your passwords, you can able to restart your password like that, so that now you're making it much more difficult, so that people can have your information. Number 6 now is the fear. Now, when you talk about the fear-based oppressors utilize online networking to enlist. Now, when we are seeing people, your people, your terrorists, yes, they love to use social media. They kidnap somebody, they show him, okay, this is the person, we have kidnapped him. We need certain amount. And usually they don't even use streamline social media. What they do is that they put it in what we call the black market, you understand? Through the black market, it rises up. Then you find it in your Facebook, you find it on your tweet. Now it spreads like a wildfire, you understand? So some things that is negative about social media is that now people can push their negative agendas to push their own things. And things maybe I have not mentioned about social media here. It's number 1, people can do a lot of catfishing. You might think you're talking to a black person, but you're talking to a white person. You might think you're talking to Kamo, but you're talking to Extella. So people can do catfishing. They can replicate your account. That's why I say everything that you post on social media, somebody can take everything from your account and create a new account in your name and saying, I am Gamhelelebes, which I am not. So that's some things that we need to take note of, in which are a negative side of social media. Now, when we look at the pitfalls of social media, now the pitfalls are certain things that we cannot ignore, we cannot change, which are there. Number one, we see that there is digital harassment. That's why I say be careful what you post. And if you are posting something, stand with it. People can harass you for anything. We can say Jesus is coming again. And you find somebody just coming in who told you that Jesus is even a person. Who told you that Jesus of yours, we've been waiting that he will come, but he's not coming. You understand? So certain things that can harass you in what you're posting, maybe you're posting wearing in a bad manner. You understand? So be careful of what you post. And number two, which talks about when they are putting you down. In simpler terms, they're just putting you down. Now, when they're putting you down, is that they can post. It says here, as well, it can damage your reputation. When you look at it, damages your reputation. That's what they can do. Social media can damage your reputation, damage your self-esteem. That's why you find out people even committing suicide. And we look at people who are artists, who are musicians, they go through things like depression, and it kills them. That's why they even suggest that even if you're a popular person, they get people who are going to run their social media accounts. They refrain from even having their own accounts on their phone because they want to protect their mental health, because they know how dangerous, how people in social media can just say things. They do not care. Because they don't, you're at a receiving end. So people can just lash out at you, not knowing, they just lash out at you. And they're making sure that they're damaging your reputation. Other people are people who are specific, maybe somebody, if you are in politics, for instance, there are politicians, if other parties are fighting with other part of politicians are fighting with other, they can just hire people who are going to just come in your social media as an as an opposite political party or politician. They can just come in your social media trying to ruin your reputation. So that's some things that we cannot ignore in social media, that they can do that. Now, when you look at number 3, it talks about some entrepreneurs and business owners have set their designs and everything, their desires too high. They say lose 10 kgs in just a week. Now that's the pitfalls. Now they want to sell you a product. Now when they're selling you a product, they set the target too high. You understand? And we see it a lot of times. If you want to lose weight, if you want to do this, if you want to get your husband back, they do a lot of things which their desires are too high. They are too high and which are wrong. And when you look at it from a scientific fact, you are able to see if somebody says lose 10 kgs in just a week. Is that even possible to lose 10 kgs of weight? If you were 50, you're now at 40 kgs, for argument's sake. Is that possible in just a week? It is not possible. If they said maybe in 3 months, you understand, in 6 months, that's something you can say, lose 10 kgs in just 3 months. Okay, I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to hear what you're telling me. Lose 10 kgs in 6 months, lose 10 kgs in a year. But they know people are people who want instant gratification. They want things now. That's why their standards, they're too high. So that's one of the things which are a pitfall. Now, when you look at number 4, is that they are not kidding kindly issues of protection and ought to be taught of them. One, ought to be curious regarding what private data is shown. Now, when you talk about private data, your private data can be what you do as a family. Your private data can be where you go, what you do, what you post. You understand? So that's something that you need to be careful, because such things, they can be posted and for the whole world to see. So you need to be careful. For the whole world can see what you're doing. Oh, Ma'am Estella is going back home. Okay. that means I can do this. That means I can do this. So they're able to see. So whatever that you do, whether it's your check-ins on Facebook, because even if you're not saying where you are, you can just say check-in Gold Reef City, check-in what waterfalls, check-in. You understand? Such things can even cause you a lot of drama. And even in the workplace, which is number 5, where it says online, when you are online, wrong online networking can make individuals not land or even lose their positions. We have seen a lot of people lose their jobs because of what they are posting. We have seen people who have done things which are posted online, which have they get suspended, you know, they are put on hold, and it can be a really painful thing that you can go through. You understand? They can throw you a meeting. You understand that no, you have been doing this on social media, therefore we are holding you on suspension while we are investigating, or we are just suspending you for 2 weeks, just rest, or we are just firing you because what you did doesn't hold to the company policies. You understand? For example, if it's gender-based violence and they posted you abusing somebody, and the company is against gender-based violence and is going to ruin their reputation if they keep you as an employee, they kick you out immediately because you are now against what the company stands for. You understand? And even if you can say, oh, but what if I'm a CEO of that company? I'm a CEO, I know I have shares in that company. That means no, they cannot chase me out. They can. If you're a CEO and a shareholder, what can happen is that in most cases, they can vote you out to be as a CEO, meaning that as the image of the company, you can be removed, but you can still be a shareholder, but not anymore as the CEO, meaning that the shareholders, if they have a majority vote against you, you can go out. So that's something that we need to look at, because now it becomes bad. Now, when we look at types of social media, we're having a types of social media, which I'm going to run through them very quickly because we know them, we are familiar, and some, if we do not know, I'm going to try my best to explain them. I'm going to try my best to explain them. Now, we're having internet forum, we are having text messaging, we are having social media network services, we are having social blogs, we are having podcasts, and we're having social book markings. So let's get into it. Now, I'm just going to point out 2 as I explain. Now, when we look at internet forums, now internet forums, an internet forum or message board is an online discussion site where people can hold conversation in form of posts and messages. For example, there is this website, just to mention an example, there's the website called Reddit, where you can have discussions. Or there's this other website, it slipped my mind, I keep on forgetting it, which I am on that website, whereby if somebody can ask a question that, what is the difference between Pathfinder and Adventure? Automatically, there is a discussion. Somebody wants to know something. When somebody wants to know something, then us who are part of that discussion or who are engaged in that certain niche, when we talk about the niche, when we talk about the word niche, it talks about a certain interest. A niche is when we talk about the niche, there's for example, we have a car. People are into car. There's a niche about cars. You understand? We talk about inside of the niche, you can talk about engines, you can talk about the car wheels, you can talk about everything. That's what we talk about the niche. So that certain people who are interested in that, maybe in Pathfinder, we can answer questions regarding to Pathfinder. If somebody can say, why do we have a red in the Pathfinder logo? We can answer through that because we are in that niche, we follow that particular topics. Now, when you look at text messages, we are having text message. Now it says text messaging is a way towards sending short messages out among at least 2 gadgets over a system. This type of media has now been formatted into sending pictures, videos, and social media and sound rather, and sound. Now, when you look at WhatsApp, we're able to, it's a text-based system whereby I am chatting to Estella. Hi, ma'am, how are you today? So, no, I'm good. And how are you, my leader? No, I am good. If I don't feel like texting, I send a sound, which is a voice note. Hi, Ma'am Stella, please don't forget that tomorrow you're doing backpacking and we'll be doing it at 10 o'clock. You're sending. Then Ma'am Stella can send a video back. As you can see, I'm preparing my uniform or preparing my presentation. I am almost ready. And he sends the video, and I can send back a picture and say, okay, then I send the picture back to Ma'am Estelle. So that's what we can use when talking about texting. Now, when we look at this other tool, which is social network services, we're able to understand that a social network service is designed to connect people together who share common interest in the internet. You understand? Who share common interest in the internet. Each person that is part of a social networking has a profile and at least their interest as well as information they choose to reveal about themselves. Facebook is an example. When you talk about Facebook, you have a profile picture, you have people that follow you, meaning that they're interested in you as a profile. You can also follow people who are posting the same thing. So that is what we talk as social network services. It meets people under the same interest also. Now, when you're talking about a social blog, when we're here about social blog, what you need to understand about the social blog, we're talking about blogs now, a blog. Now, a social blog is a website intended for a conversation or data purposes that contain posts and messages. Now, once you have a blog, you can write about anything, because there are people maybe who enjoy watching videos, okay, but there are people who enjoy reading. For example, when I am doing a YouTube channel, when I'm doing a video on YouTube, I can talk about something on a YouTube. Then after doing the video, I can also write a blog so that people who are interested in reading instead of watching the video can also read and benefit. Same applies to those who are watching a video, so they are able to benefit. That's why we're talking about a blog. It happens like that. You understand? Because for some of us, I also have a blog where I write about, for example, my recent blog, which I wrote about is 3 characters that can make you to have to be like God. You understand? I can talk about 3 characters. I think the one that I mentioned is that you keep your promises, because God is a God of promise. When he has made a covenant between you and I, it's a covenant that he's able to keep. So that's why I say to people that, no, you need to make a covenant. If you want to be like God, when you make a promise, when you make a covenant with somebody, keep the covenant. You understand? Because you are making it between you and that person. Now, when we look at blog, a podcast, and social bookmarking. Now, I'm going to start with the podcast. Now, remember when we talk about, let's go back to, we talk about social blogs. People love reading. Now, when we talk about podcasts, it can be two. It can be people who love to listen, because sometimes I love listening to podcasts. And also podcast can mean also audiobooks fall under the same category. Now, when you talk about podcasts, you can listen to them. You can just listen to people talking. It's like listening to a radio, but now you are able to store it on your phone. You're able to go to things like Spotify, to Google Podcasts, and also I think it's I something. I forgot the other name of when using it for Apple. You are also able to listen to people, and it's beneficial to those of us. Sometimes I am lazy to read. I don't feel like reading. So a podcast is a type of advanced media for circulating of sound, and once in a video document. You understand? Documents. So it becomes much more easier. So podcast can be listening, or also in video. It becomes much more easier. Now, when you're looking at a social bookmarking. Now, when you look at social bookmarking, people don't understand this one because it becomes much more difficult to understand. Now, when you go to make it much more easy, it says, let me just read what I've written, then I try to explain just a few sentences. Now, social bookmarking is a way towards labeling and sharing references. You understand? You are sharing a reference to that might be found on the web. You understand? So if I am taking for example, my blog, I'm writing a blog, then I can just bookmark it. A bookmark can be you are taking it as a link, or you are just capturing it. And once you have bookmarked it, you can bookmark it personally to yourself. Né? That's one thing you can do. And the next thing that you can do when you're bookmarking is that you can bookmark it so that other people can see. On Facebook, you're able to bookmark things. And there's an option to say, do you want it to be private, only me, or you want it to be, I'll show it just at the end to explain the bookmarking so that we're able to understand it. Only me, or you can say friends or everyone else. So you're able to do that. And people who share your same interest, when your interest can go to your profile picture, or profile rather. Okay, no, you have bookmarked Pathfinder Day, World Pathfinder Day, Global Youth Day. Let me just enter and see. Then you are making it, people who are following you to see the interests that you are doing. Even videos, you can bookmark videos. Even on YouTube, you are also able to bookmark videos, bookmark playlists. You understand? If you are listening to a good playlist, you can also bookmark it. And there's an option to say, can my followers see what I am also bookmarking? You can also use it to promote, because sometimes maybe I'm having a friend who's a preacher. If maybe I'm having a YouTube channel, I'm a preacher, my friend is a preacher, I can bookmark his sermons and they can appear on my channel also. And they're able to see other people who are sharing similar things. Then it becomes much more easier. Now, I am done with the presentation. Now I want to enter into where we are going to do a practical thing. Now, let me see how many people we are having. So we're having about we're having around, I think, 8 people or so. 8. Okay, I'm double, so I'm having 8 people. Now, what's going to happen is that we're going to have a discussion now. Now, I'm going to divide this into 2 groups because we are not a lot. I'm gonna do a breakout room with 2 groups. Now, group 1 will be I know we're going to ask which one is group 1, which one is group 2. Let me explain what group 1 is doing, what group 2 is doing. Now, let me just change to the next slide. Now, group 1, I want you to take note of this one. I'm going to divide people. I'm going to divide people into 2 groups. So take note of 2 questions. If you are in breakout room 1, or I'm going to write it as G1 or G2 or room 1 or room 2. That's what you need to do. Now, group 1, I want you to discuss importance of maintaining your integrity when posting information about yourself, as well as responding to post information about others. We spoke about them in disadvantage and everything. So what are the things that you need to keep in mind when maintaining your integrity when posting? What are the things that you need to take note when posting and when you are responding to others? What are the things that you need to take note? That's one thing that I want group 1 to do. Now, group 2, I want you to explain this one. How can social media be used to engage with the different types of learners? Remember, we talked about texting, we talked about podcasts, which is listening, we talked about blogs, which people love to read and everything. So I want you to discuss what are these types of learning. Just briefly explain what types of, when you talk about visual learning, what is visual learning? What is reading? What is audio learning? You understand? And you can talk about different types of learners in terms of that. Now, the third one, it is for both group 1 and 2. I want everyone to participate. It's for group 1 and 2. Now, for group 1 and 2, I want group 1 will take the first verse, which is Matthew 12, Matthew 21, verse 14. Group 2 will be taking Matthew 28, verse 19. And I want you to explain, what does the Bible say about communication or social media? What does the Bible say about social media? So I guess everyone has gotten their questions for group 1, for group 2, and this one, group 1, you take the first one, and group 2, you take the second one. I am going to give everyone, let me just see. I'm just going to give everyone, let me just say 5 to 7. Let me just say, because 10 minutes is a lot. Let me just say 7 minutes or so. So let me just stop sharing my screen. Then what's going to happen now is that I'm going to, okay, let me just close this pop-up. Okay, we are having 8 people. I'm just going to divide everyone. I'm going to create the rooms right now. I'm going to create, and I'm going to make them to do automatically. So if you find yourself in a different group or anything, it's fine, because I'm going to make them to assign automatically. Now I have created, now group 1, I think in group 1, they are, okay, I think we are all the same. I think we have Estella. Okay, let me see, Estella is in group 2. Let me just do this just to maintain order. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. I think, yeah, I think we are good. So I am going to create these groups. I'm going to give everyone, let me just say 8 minutes. Then you're going to have, let me just say 30 seconds to rejoin. Yes, I think that's what we can do. I'm going to give everyone 8 minutes. So I think we can go in those group discussion. Room 1 is group 1. Room 2 is group 2. Or let me just let me just for yes, I think all is in good, so that we are able to have a discussion. Because once you have done this discussion, you have already completed the requirement. Once you have done the discussion today, you are already done with the requirement, and it becomes much more easier for you because you've already done requirement 1, requirement 2, the 3 requirements you've already done with today. So I'm going to open the rooms right now. Then we can have our discussions. Please join. Please click join so that you can able to have your discussions, please.
I think it's only the 3 of us. It's me, you, and
Kamu, it's me, ne? So it's the 2 of you, man.
It's the 2 of us.
Yeah.
Yes, I tried to screenshot it. Let me see if it's clear enough. Okay, the question says the importance of maintaining your integrity when posting information about yourself, as well as responding to posted information about others. So we discuss about that. Yes, the importance. Oh, let me see if I can share to her. Share again, Mama. Or I'm not saying it to you.
Recording in progress.
What's calling them, Ma?
They're on Zoom.
Huh?
We're on Zoom.
Huh?
Okay. I think we are all back. I think when I looked at the rooms, only group 1 who participated, because group 2, which is room 2, there was nobody in there, meaning people joined but not participating. But it's fine. We are going to continue. I think let me just share the screen. Let me see if the screen is shared. Yes. We can go back. Let me just try to go back to the previous questions. Yes, I think for group 1 we had this question. So I think anyone from group 1 can unmute his or herself and just tell us briefly. Let me just check. Wait. Let me just check that people can unmute themselves. Yes, you are now able to unmute yourself.
Okay. Am I audible enough?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You are muted now. Just unmute yourself.
Okay. It's okay
Yes.
now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so on the importance of maintaining your integrity when posting information about yourself, as well as responding to posted information about others. We've got a few points. The Pathfinder is going to share those points.
We cannot hear.
Must not post something shaming to others.
Go on.
Do not be racism or tribalism. Your information must be accurate. Always respond positive.
Yeah, that's all that we managed to.
Okay. Now, when coming to, okay, this one I'll just explain since in group
Group
2,
two.
yeah,
Okay.
did not. I'll just explain it when I'm going to answer everything. Now, let's get into your verse, which is, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, our verse Matthew 24, verse 14. Come read the verse.
And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all
Nations.
nations, and then
The end will come.
the end will come.
Okay. Then explain the verse.
We need to share the gospel through our status.
Mhm.
All the points.
We need to communicate with
Everyone.
and
And
share verses on our status groups, messages.
the other one.
TikTok started comments about the second coming of Christ.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all that you managed to get.
Okay. Thank you very much, Group 1, for sharing with us what you were tasked to do. Now I'm just going to, let me just do like this for a moment so that I'm able to.
You can come back on it then.
Okay, let me just go to the answers because I had to hide the answers. So I'll just, okay, which one? Okay. Show all the answers, then I can present them. Yes, I think now we are in order. I can go back to the presentation. Okay. Yes. Now, when we look at the first part, which it says, discuss with how can you maintain your integrity when posting information about yourself, as well as responding to post information about others. So group 1 gave a correct answer, and thank you very much for that. And it says pathfinders must understand that their online profiles is a significant representation of themselves as an individual. This may not necessarily reflect who they actually are, but it will leave a lasting impression to those who choose to view their profile. Information posted, no matter how complimentary it may seem, will remain available for others to view. So that is very much good. So whatever you can post, whether it's wrong, whether it's right, as much as it can seem, it will stay and it will remain available for others to see. So when you go back to the question, when it says, how do you maintain your integrity when posting information about yourself, as well as responding to posts and information about others, we get a summary that pathfinders must understand that their online profile is a significant representation of them as an individual. This may not necessarily reflect who they are, but it can leave a lasting impression. Whatever they post can leave a lasting impression to those who choose to view their profiles. And when you are posting, whichever, even if it's a complimentary or something that is wrong or whatever the case may be, it will remain available for others to view. So that's something that we need to seriously take note. Now we gave group 2, and unfortunately group 2 did not join. They were in the main meeting and did not join, because you need to accept join to move. So I tried to communicate with them, but unfortunately I couldn't do so. But I will explain. Now, when we look at, we have visual, we have audio, we have reading, writing, and we have the calisthenics, if I'm pronouncing it properly, you know, this pronunciation. Now, when we look at those types, it says now, when you look at the visual, they learn by physical demonstrations, which is pictures and words. You understand? So they're able to see image when we are dealing with visual people, your presentation, even if you're presenting, especially to those who are presenting, for example, for visual, we can say adventurers in argument's sake. They need a lot of pictures, a lot of videos, so that you can keep them interested and they're able to say, wow, they're able to communicate. You understand? But for some people who are adults, seeing a lot of pictures can be destructive and everything. Audio, they learn mainly by listening. You understand? So when you talk about listening, for example, I'm having a book here, which is the Great Controversy. The book is The Great Controversy, as you can see. Some people can open the book and start reading, you understand, and start reading and able to understand. But others, they prefer to do what? They prefer to listen to the book, step 2 is The Great Controversy. Listen to it, be able to understand. They understand much more easier, you understand. For some of us who love multitasking, I can listen to the book while I'm cleaning, and while I'm cleaning, I'm just having a book, maybe sitting on the table. Or if I hear an important point under maybe the chapter, let me just look at the chapters quickly, just to make an example. When you look the destruction of Jerusalem, for instance, I can write destruction of Jerusalem as I'm cleaning, I'm listening. Oh, okay. If I hear an important point, I can come down, I have a pen, I quickly note down, then I move on doing my chores. When I move to the next room, I just take that piece of paper. So I'm able to do some things, but now I'm able to listen while I'm working. So there's also other people prefer to do that. They prefer listening to that. Then we have others who, the last one, which they love, let me just go to it, by using their hands and expressing they're expressing themselves. So others, they love using their hands to explain, and it becomes much more easier for them. And others learn like that today we are going to make a card, but others can simply understand when you're talking about a card, what is a card, but others need to make a card, decorate the card, so they're able to do what? They're able to make it much more easier for them to learn. Now, when we look at the Bible verses which I've mentioned, yes, there are more Bible verses, but I just chose 2 so that we're able to discuss, so that we're able to interact. And group 1 rather, explained it correctly in terms of what we can use and what can we do in terms of social media. And I have summarized this to say, the Great Commission instructs us to say, go, teach, and baptize. That is the Great Commission. Go, teach, baptize. Now it says here, which I've noted down, it says social media can be used as a means to take the message to those who earnestly seek to hear the word of God through the power of the Holy Spirit. That makes it much more easier. That process now and the preparation process of baptism will begin, because now you are posting social media, you are talking about God, because you are having now our young people are glued to their phone. So when we are using social media to spread things of God through social media, we're able to touch the lives of our children. We're able to talk about them, and it becomes much more easier. And some social, when you're posting on social media, you do not post, you post it in a way that is interesting, it's catching. We talked about niches, how to target certain people. Now, when you're posting something to young people, I'm thinking of a topic on top of my head. If I'm posting a topic or I'm making a video, an online event, I can post a topic like, why do young people leave the church? So automatically when a young people sees that one, I'm like, yo, this one I want to attend. This one I want to speak out. This is a platform I'm able to share and express myself. So that's some things that we can do when we are dealing with social media. Go and teach and baptize. Social media can be used as means to take the message to those who earnestly seek the word of God. Now, this requirement this is a requirement that I want us to do. I made only 2 requirements that we need to do, meaning that in the whole requirements, others you're just answering what you have learned, and the 3 requirements you have already done. So that's a point for you guys who have done the 3, which we've done, which is discussed. We've already discussed in our separate rooms, and this is proof that you have done it. And also, I've already screenshotted the rooms so that I know that you have joined. Your names were there, and you can also have that as a proof that you had a discussion. Now, what you need to do is that you need to read describe the shown verse considering the character of Christ, the Jesus Christ. Then it says, A, review your social media profile to see if it reflects those characters that you want others to view. You understand? So that's something you can do, and you can look at B also as something that you can do. Create steps to enhance your profile and related content that can reflect the character of Christ. You understand? So that's certain things that you can do. And I think this is the last one. What I want you to do is the second last one. It says create a presentation, speech, or game that shows what you have learned about social media while learning this honor. Share this presentation with a group. What you can do, you can share it with your pathfinders, or you can maybe at the church, just ask for a 2-minute slot where you can explain it to the church what you have learned about social media, or you can also talk and motivate the church that they can share this is the certain things we can do with social media. So I think that's something we can do. You can share it with a group before you do your honors, your awards. Maybe sit together and talk about what you can do, what you have understood it. In this, you can take videos, a short video, can take pictures, so that we are able to see that you have done it, and so that you can be, it's a check on your side that you have completed this requirement. Now, what you need to do, it says here, if your church or club uses social media for advertising the church and its ministry, assist with any updates and learn the processes of uploading that social media page. If your church and club does not have a social media, discuss with your leadership why they do not have it. No, I know most of the club has a social media account. For instance, I know that at Cosmo City, they have an Instagram account, and other churches that Middlelands, Dobsonville, Muhlakeng, and all other, they have Facebook pages and Instagram. So through that, I want you to whoever who's holding that social media account can come as a club to show you how they post, how they run the pages. I know people are doing week of prayers now. What you can do is take pictures and upload it on your social media as you're doing week of prayer and all those things. And if your club doesn't have that, you can also discuss it and also write, discuss if your club or your Pathfinder club does not use social media, discuss with the leadership why. Do you understand? So after this discussion, I am sure for those who do not have social media accounts will have, but I know majority of people have social media accounts, whether it's Facebook group, Facebook page, Instagram account, TikTok accounts. They have some sort of a social media, whether it's a website or whatever the case may be. There is, whether it's a YouTube channel, each club has certain things. Then you can upload your pictures as proof and what you have done or your notes, and so that you're able to see that you have spoken to the leadership. What does the leadership said, and you take it from there. I think that brings me to the end of my presentation, which talks about social media. So I think if there are any questions, I think now I can open for questions. If we have any questions, we can unmute ourselves, we can talk. And then if there's a comment, whatever that we have in regarding to social media, we can do so. So I am going to allow people to do so that we can take it from there. So any questions, any comments, we can unmute ourselves so that we can talk before we enter our last honor for the day, which is camp. I think it's camp safety. Yes, camp safety. We are on time, and yeah, we are keeping time. I think everything went properly. So I don't know if there's any questions or comments. You can you can unmute yourself. Yes, I've enabled people to unmute themselves. And yeah, but if you're okay, you can just send in the comment that no, everything is okay, so that we are able to move on to our next presentations and things like that. So I think I'm okay. Okay, everything is okay. Thank you very much for the communication. It makes it much more easier for us to move on. Let's take a 5 minutes break before we enter the next honor. Now it's 12:40. We'll meet now at quarter to 1, so that we can enter our last presentation of the day. And yeah, so that all can be well. Let's just take a quick 5 minutes break so that people can able to refresh and go to bathrooms and things like that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now we are going to have camp safety. I am just going to share the screen so that we are all able to see. And if we have any questions regarding to that, I'll be happy to answer the questions. Thank you very much. Let me just share the screen.
Good morning, guys. Today we'll be doing our camp safety honor, which will be represented by me, Linda Duma. Today's date is the 20th of March, 2022. Slides, Kamu. Thank you. Our first requirement will be why is it important to find out what the local laws are before starting a campfire? Where should you get the information? In many localities, it is illegal to light a campfire without a permit. Failure to obtain a permit can result in a hefty fine. Permit issuance is generally left to the discretion of the local fire department, and they may decline to issue one based on current conditions. If a person were to light an unpermitted campfire and that fire got out of control, the person responsible could be criminally charged and held liable for any resulting damage which could exceed several thousands of rands. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry about that. Identify 3 reasons why a campfire should never be left unattended. This is the most important thing we're going to talk about today. Yes, it could get out of control and spread. It would be a danger to unsupervised children who are in general fascinated by fire and may wish to experiment with it. It is illegal in many localities. If you go to a place where you are not permitted to light a fire, please, guys, do not light fires. If you light a fire without permission, the person who lit the fire could be jailed or have pay several thousands of rands. Next slide, please. List 10 rules for fire safety to consider when camping. Number 1, locate the fire in a safe place. It should be clear for 10 feet, which is 3 meters all around. Do not light a fire beneath overhanging branches, meaning do not light fires under trees which have hanging dry leaves or branches. Do not use accelerants such as lighter fluid, gasoline, kerosene, etc. Learn to light a fire without these. So when long time ago, Mesukula, we used to light iflawa ngamaje are white. I don't know if we still have those stones manje, like angisazi nokuthi amagama wabo yini, but mawashaya woyithu against each other isikhathi eside for friction, normally they'd make fire. So Tina, we were taught to light fire ngalawo maje lawo. And then put the fire out completely before leaving it. If it's too hot to put your hands in the ashes, it is not sufficiently out. Do use it down with water, turn the coals with a shovel, and be sure to extinguish every coal and ember. So ember, for those who don't know, ember is another word of splits. Is it splits? Yeah, I'm a splinter. You know, when you light a fire, I'm a splits. Do not build a fire on top of flammable material such as dry grass or leaves. Cut away the sod, keep it moist so it stays alive, and replace it before you leave. And clear away the duff and litter. Keep fire extinguisher supplies handy and near the fire. A bucket of water or sand or a fire extinguisher is recommended. Do not remove burning sticks from a fire. Watch for embers that escape the fire pit and extinguish them immediately. As I said, ama splitters lawo, when they come out of the fire, they can land on dry grass, which will then cause fire. Watch for embers. No, I just did that. Wear proper footwear around a fire. Ningayi ngamacapcapu around the fire. Wear leather boots preferably. Do not light a fire when conditions are adverse, meaning windy or dry conditions. So guys, keep your fire small and controllable. Next slide, please. Yeah. Our fourth requirement, identify the temperatures the following foods should be kept at and explain why this is important when camping. Hot foods. Click, Gamo. Hot foods should be kept warmer than 60 degrees Celsius. Click, Gamo. Thank you. Cold foods should be kept cooler than 4 degrees Celsius. The temperature range between 4 degrees Celsius and 60 degrees Celsius is the danger zone where bacterial growth is vigorous, meaning ukudla kubolile, spoiled food. Bacteria is what makes food spoil, and eating spoiled food can cause diseases. Next slide, please. Requirement number 5, list 5 things you can do to prevent animals from coming into your campsite. Wash all dishes as soon as you are finished eating. Store food in animal-proof containers or hang it beyond their reach. Food storage containers should be airtight to prevent aromas from escaping and attracting animals. Obviously, animals, they bayaziyanukela in order to see ukuthi kunokudla kuphi. Do not bring food into your tent. Store food trash in airtight containers as well, and place it in an inaccessible area. Another option is to burn uneaten food. Note that these steps will still not prevent a persistent animal from investigating. Meaning, if an animal ifuna ukudla, izokuthola. Next slide, please. Number 6, what safety precautions should you consider when building a latrine? A latrine is another word for a toilet. The latrine should be located at least 60 meters away from any source of water. So 60 meters is a minimum, guys. You can go as far as 100. The latrine should be private. Well, obviously, in picture Gamo, in a place where near camper there is no such thing as privacy, but the further your toilet is, I think that's where privacy is over corner, because it would be 100 or more meters away from the campsite. The commode should be steady and well able to support the weight of anyone using it. So what this means is nizozenzela le toilet. As you can see, I'm at DIY. And Yelena, it looks like a bucket with plastic. The other one is a bucket. The one in the middle is a plastic, is a bucket man. And then the other one is made out of wood. So guys, 60 meters is the minimal, and you can go as far as 100 meters, as I said. And in most cases, people take their waste with them. As you can see in the first picture, it's a plastic, meaning all your waste goes in there. And then after a camp, when your camp is done, you can you double bag it or triple bag or even you bag the waste and nihamba nayo, go back home with it, and then nizobona ukuthi niyilahla kuphi. Next slide, please. 7. Our 7th requirement: make a list of items that should be in a first aid kit, and inspect your Pathfinder Club's camping first aid kit and make recommendations of any missing items applicable. So commercially available first aid available via normal retail routes have traditionally been intended for treatment of minor injuries only. Typical contents include your adhesive bandage, your regular strength pain medication, that would be amapanado wenu, your gauze. Gauze is a bandage oyifaka umuntu oshile, a low grade disinfectant. Additional items may include tweezers for tick and splinter removal, ace bandages, burn cream, medical grade gloves, alcohol pads. And when inspecting your club's first aid kit, be sure to check expiration dates for any medication. Next slide, please. 8. List 5 things to consider when practicing good hygiene at a campsite where there is no running water, i.e. showers, flush toilets, sinks, or faucets. Camping does not absolve a person from good hygiene practices. It merely makes such practices a little less convenient. Build an appropriate latrine, which is a toilet, and locate it properly, away from the campsite and away from any source of water. Wash dishes in plastic tubs. Pictures, please, Gamo. 1 for pre-rinse, 1 for washing, and 1 for rinsing. All tubs should be filled with hot water, heated on the camp stove, and the temperature should be checked before the dishes are washed. Water temperature can be moderate by mixing hot water with cold water. The final rinse tub can benefit from a teaspoon of chlorine bleach. Next slide, please. Demonstrate 3 ways you can purify water when camping. So they say 3, I got you guys. 4, boiling. Water can be purified by boiling for 5 to 10 minutes. Iodine is added to water as a solution, crystallized or in tablets. The iodine kills many, but not all, of the most common pathogens present in natural freshwater sources. Carrying iodine for water purification is an imperfect but lightweight solution for those in need of field purification of drinking water. Chlorine. Chlorine-based bleach may be used for emergency disinfection. Add 2 drops of 5% bleach per liter or quart of clear water. A quart meaning that should be a quarter of clear water. Then let it stand covered for 30 to 60 minutes, which is half an hour to an hour. After this, it may be left open to reduce the chlorine smell and taste. Filtering. Water filters are also used to make water potable. These filters are usually small, portable, and light, and filter water by working a hand pump. Dirty water is pumped via a tube through the filter, then out into a flexible tube and directly into the water bottle. These type of filters work to remove bacteria, protozoa, and cysts, all of which can cause diseases. So in all of these requirements of yours, I added 1 more requirement where you guys are going to build a water filter. So you guys are going to build your own water filters, and you can submit your project by taking pictures or a video. Next slide, please. Identify 2 types of fuel used for camp cooking and explain what precautions should be used when using each type of fuel. Discuss 5 guidelines for safety handling the following camping items. So we'll start by discussing the 5 guidelines. Number A, which is your knife. Your knives. Keep your knives sharp. Close folding knives when they are not in use or when passing onto another person. Cut away from the body or anyone else's. Do not throw knives. Do not stick a knife blade into the ground. Axes. Check the condition of the axe before using it and make certain the head is firmly attached to the handle. Check this continually as you use the axe. Guys, this is the most important one of them all. Because the axe, the more you use it, it becomes loose. The head becomes loose. So it's quite important to check your head before using your axe. Make sure the area above is clear before swinging an axe. Do not use an axe when another person is within 2 axe lengths, meaning I'm at 2 axes. Actually, do not use it when a person is close enough to you. Do not chop the ground with the blade. Do not swing the axe unless you have a firm footing, meaning before you swing your axe, you should just stand with your legs apart from each other. Then you know you're firm enough to use one. Pictures, demo, and next slide. Saws. Do not chop with a saw. Saws are for cutting. For those of you who don't know what a saw is, isaga. Keep fingers clear of the blade. Store a saw in a safe place when it is not used. Do not make it a tripping hazard. Be aware of the entire length of the blade when sawing. Do not saw into whatever is supporting the item being cut. A hatchet. A hatchet is umtana kabo saw. Ahmen, umtana kabo axe. It's a smaller nyana axe. So whatever your bigger axe does, whatever it does, yenza the smaller one. So with your axe, you chop a log. With your hatchet, you probably chop branches. So yeah, that's your hatchet. Do not hold an item with one hand and chop at it with the other. You really do not want to keep all your fingers. You really do want to keep all your fingers. Sheath a hatchet when it is not in use. So a sheath is it's a garment yazo. You know, it comes with you on a sheath. It's like a bag which covers a blade corner. I think I have it in my pictures as I present the handle to a person to whom you are passing a hatchet. Store a hatchet in a safe place when it is not in use. Do not make it a tripping hazard. Keep the hatchet sharp. Next slide, please. And then we have your machete. Your machete, I think panga. Yes, panga. Make sure anyone using a machete is well supervised. Store a machete out of reach of children. Do not swing the machete towards your legs or feet. Anticipate that the machete can glance off a target after it strikes. Sheath a machete. So as you can see, guys, on the third picture, it's the bag yakona, ne? So your hatchet also has a bag nyana yakona. That's your sheath. So when they say sheath a machete, it means you fire back into a bag yakona. Next slide, please. Types of fuel. You've got your propane and alcohol. Propane is perhaps the most popular form of fuel for camp stove. Be sure to close the valve tightly when the tank is not in use. When lighting a propane stove, be sure to have the fire ready before turning on the gas. If you turn on the gas before then, before, if you turn on the gas first and then have trouble getting the fire to light, you can cause an explosion. Allow the gas to clear for 5 minutes before attempting to relight. So propane, for those of us, so you guys, you know how dangerous gas is, and some of us siyasaba relight that because of the dangers zayo. Because if a valve is not tight, if you don't close the valve tight enough, the gas inside iyapuma, and my pumele erumini, if one person just comes in and lights a match, boom, game over, explosion. The second type of fuel, alcohol. Backpacking stove often use denatured alcohol as their fuel source. Be aware that alcohol flames can be almost completely invisible, especially in direct sunlight. Pathfinders have been known to believe the stove is not lit because of this, and then have attempted to refill the lit stove. Next slide, please. Oh, assist your club in a campsite safety inspection using the current Adventist Risk Management Pathfinder Camp Safety Inspection Form or its equivalent. So I'm thinking Uguti, this form will be provided by our district Pathfinder leader, director. Be able to briefly explain the score or report given concerning the safety of the campsite. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you guys for lending me your ears. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. So I'll open up for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As we talked about camp safety, and this will help us as we are going to camps. There are certain things that we need to take note of. And I know some people may say, Ish, sometimes these things we do, but sometimes we forget him. The best thing to do, because now some of the things, because we do not go to camp as often as we should, as clubs or as individuals. So it is recommended that even when you are knowing that you're going to a camp, whether it's a camp meeting, whether it's any type of camp that you'll be going to, whether it's a chalet camp, whether it's a tent camp or whatever that will be happening, ensure that you're having your notes. That's why I love when we are having our honors, have your file where you're going to note down. For those who are doing master guide, they are noting, even when you're doing your honors, everything that you have done, just put it in the file so that when you're going to a camp, you're able to open camp safety, you're able to open backpacking, you're having knowledge, you're refreshing yourself. It doesn't mean you do not know, but certain things, if you do not use, you keep on forgetting. But it becomes much more easier when you have it in hand, or when you have it, we can just maybe in your closet, or whatever the case may be, open up, read, refresh your mind, so that when you're planning for a camp at local church, you are able to note down certain things, because at the end of the day, you might be doing things correctly, but somebody else might not do things correctly at the camp, even if it's a huge camp mixed with other clubs and other people. So you may be somebody that can save somebody or save the situation. To say, hey, when you're opening your gas, when somebody says, no, this gas is not opening, but it's smelling. He says, he opens the gas. I'm still looking for matches. Hey, bring the matches. Already the gas is coming out. So when you notice that situation, you're able to say, hey, wait a minute, before you even light. You understand? Close it, wait a minute, so that the gases which which have come out while you were looking for the matches. You understand? Because once you open a gas, it is recommended that you have the lighter in hand. You light, then you open the gas, so that automatically it works perfectly. Because some people don't do that. Some person can even forget, but you can able to save somebody when doing that. So I think I can open for questions if there are questions, so that you can take the questions. Yes, I think people can unmute themselves. Yes. So I think if we are having any questions, we can take them, even if it's a previous owner or the first owner. Maybe there's something that you forgot to ask. You can unmute yourself because we are done. We are 13 minutes late, but 13 minutes late, we should have been done at 1. But I think we are still on time, and yeah, the presentations went smoothly. So if there are no questions, we can just also indicate in the chat if there are no questions, and yeah, so that we can close Gamnandi with no issues. So if there are no questions, you can unmute yourself or say no, there are no questions, or you can throw it in the chat so that we are able to note that. Okay, I see no questions. No, if there are no questions, I think we have okay. Thank you very much. I think thank you very much for thank you, Kat. Thank you very much for attending today's honors, and I hope that we have all learned and we have all benefited something. I'm going to share my answering sheet today. If not today, I'll send them tomorrow, but I'll communicate in the group so that we are all able to be able to answer. And I'm going to ask our presenters to write particular assignments that you need to do, and also a due date. But I think for me, who was presenting social media on my behalf, I think everything can be done, because I said amateur date to our awards and honors. What's going to happen is that if we done our honors today, everyone is required to complete all honors by the next time. When we do the next 3 honors, we need to be done with this one. Yes, there might be requirements in the honor that may take time than others. Then we'll be communicating that for this one, you can do 3 months or 2 months, it must be done. But for me, for social media, I think it will be done. But the next time we come on the next session, it will be done, because it's only discussions, and going to the last one, which is the 10th one, which I talked about, which is saying going to the person who deals with the social media at your church and talk to that person about uploading and such and things like that. So the answering sheets will be available. Please do answer and do submit them via your clubs, so that everything can run smoothly. Also, leaders, our leaders and people who have participated, like your parents and your Pathfinder leaders and your staff, can also answer these questions and can also get their honors at the end of the day. So thank you very much. I do not know who can close for us in prayer. Anyone can unmute his, or you can unmute yourself rather and close in prayer. Anyone can do that as we close today's session. I think also before we close, let me just communicate when are we meeting again, so that we are able to know when are we meeting. Let me just check it on the phone, because I have it. I'll just also share it. As Pathfinder, we are meeting again on the 22 next month, which is May. Wait a minute. I'm sorry, wait. We are meeting on the 17th of April. Yeah, we are meeting on the 17th of April. Yes, we're meeting. Pathfinder is meeting on the 17th of April. Adventurers are meeting on the 10th of April. So I'm just going to give you the 3 dates for Pathfinder. For April, it's on the 10th, it's on the 17th. Then on May, it's on the 22nd. And in June is on the 19th. So just take note of those dates when we are going to meet. We're just having, for Pathfinder, it's once a month, one Sunday. For Adventurer, it's once a month, one Sunday. So it's easy. You just attend from 10 to 1, 10 to 2, then you are done. So I think that's what we are having. I'll also send the dates also again in the group chat, in the all various group chats. So if there's anyone who is volunteering to unmute his or herself so that we can close in prayer, can you please do so? Anyone?
Let us pray. Our kind and gracious Father, most holy Lord, we come before your throne, giving you all the honor and the glory. Father, we are grateful for the gift of life and the opportunity that you have given us to meet here on this Zoom. We are grateful for the lessons that we have learned. May we be able to utilize them in our lives and teach others about them. We thank you for everything that you've done for us, and we thank you for allowing us, Father, to pull throughout this whole Zoom. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you very much and good day.
Good morning, guys. Today we'll be doing our camp on